Space Marines 2 current state of PvP. Now, it's no secret PvP has not received a meaningful update in quite a bit. I seen less talk about shock grenades being annoying, to be honest, which is interesting. So I think everything kind of, started to balance itself out in PvP as far as strategy and how people are approaching certain weapons. However, obviously there are some outliers. I personally still find shock grenades kind of annoying, but we see a lot of these hunkered down strats now where it's like a heavy and a bulwark and, they're sticking together. So like a shock grenade's pretty good for that moment. I can see where shock grenades definitely have their point in PvP. For the most part though, I see players talk about PvP and they don't really seem very enthused. So I want to make this video to kind of defend PvP in a sense. I do believe what we have in Space Marines 2 PvP is very good. And that is saying a lot, considering most of the games I play are PvP games. I have been playing Black Ops 6 recently, and I actually find that very fun, but it's very fast. So, okay, so let's just see what people are talking about when they talk about PvP. What's the current state of Space Marines 2 PvP? I've been watching the game for a few months and I have been interested in playing it with a friend. We're both quite interested in the PvP. For when we finish the campaign and some operations, I've heard some mixed reviews on it, like imbalances, matchmaking issues, hit detection issues. Okay, so let's get into this. Imbalances. I think PvP is pretty balanced. But people highly underestimate how much teamwork really is like kind of the focus when it comes to, winning games. Like, for example, if you are a Vanguard and you turn a corner and you run into a heavy running Melta, you're probably dead. That's probably an imbalanced experience for you. But if you're a Vanguard and you have a tactical with you, and then you see that heavy and maybe there's a bulwark, you're winning that 2v2 if you are together. And let's say it's, you have room. But for the most part, Vanguard stuns the heavy, tactical, recon, Vanguard melees off with the combat. Hopefully the tactical's either using the plasma gun or the heavy incinerator. The heavy bolt rifle. That heavy is going down very fast. And then it's just a bulwark there. Probably going to try to trade some melee attacks. Either way, the tactical should clean this up, and the Vanguard was the one to open up the opportunity for the insane damage. So, yes, like, the game can feel imbalanced, but strategy is there, but sometimes it's just not, you could run into some bad luck. As I said with shock grenades, I think they have their purpose, but I would like to see the blinding effects nerfed, and every gun feels fine for the most part. I do think the bolt pistol could receive a small buff, and same goes for the stalker, but otherwise there are a lot of options of approaching PvP, and there are a lot of nice weapons to use, so I think PvP is actually in a great spot when it comes to balance. Matchmaking issues. Okay. Now, this one is a bit tougher to approach. So here's the deal. You will definitely see a lot of photos of, like, this team was full of 2s and 3s and they're fighting a whole bunch of level 20s. That could definitely feel, a little bit, bad. But for the most part, you don't really know who's matched up with each other. So that team of 20s could be a 3-stack. And then at the same time, the players on the lower level team, they could be all solo queuing. But here's the one thing I will say. Level doesn't mean everything. I'm level 25. I have some bad games. I mean, I put all my games on YouTube, so I could get the highest score in a server, but I could also have the most deaths. I'm, practically that type of player. But yeah, like I said, I really just jump into the fights a lot with, as mentioning Call of Duty. That's pretty much all you do in Black Ops. You just run in, shoot somebody, and die. So I actually find Space Marines 2 PvP a little bit more satisfying than Call of Duty's for that reason. You can really keep a fight going very long, and it's kind of cool when everyone brings in a new way to counter each other in the battle. So I don't know. I think team fights in Space Marines 2 is probably, like, I'm not even trying to make a hot take. it's probably the best PvP experience you're going to find on. I mean, if you don't like, let's not include MOBAs or anything like that, because for the most part, those are just PvP centered games. But like like it's hard to say, but like a game with a PvP mode that's not super fleshed out, Space Marines 2 is probably the best experience you're gonna have, like 100%. And not to mention the campaign's good, and they're gonna keep adding content. I don't know. I do believe Space Marines 2 PvP is worth playing. Even with these matchmaking issues, because again, there could be a level 1 on your team who's just going to drop 20, and you never know. So ultimately, the matchmaking issues are there. They are a byproduct of the fact that we don't really have like a solo queue, or we don't know who's queued up with each other. Sure, there can be some minor things they can tweak, but if you lose to a team that's higher level than you, you're still going to get better. And eventually, you'll be on better teams because you really know how to play PvP. So, yeah, matchmaking issues can be a problem. But, like, at the same time, if you're low level and you're going to run into players who are higher level than you. Sometimes that happens. And sometimes low level players are just really good. And high level players could just be coasting. Sometimes, again, everyone has good and bad games. I don't think the screenshot really tells you the entire story. Holy cow, dude. I didn't know I had this much to say. Hit detection issues. Okay, so ping. Yeah, some games are bad ping. I don't know. I have streaks. Sometimes it's bad, but I gotta say, even with like 300 ping or like 100 ping, anything between that, it still feels better than Elden Ring. I don't know why. Like, I could have high ping in Space Marines 2, and I feel like I'm still getting, I'm still hitting some shots. There will be, like, noticeable spots here and there where I'm like, man, I think he dies. But he rolls around the corner, and he's at 1. He can't really recover. Just finish it off. But, like, in Elden Ring, it could legit stop you from trading the entire fight. And, yeah. I will say hit detection issues are spotty, but they won't ruin your experience, etc. Also, I'm curious about how long the queues are. They're instant. What are your thoughts on PvP for reference? I think I've said enough. I definitely need to read some reactions to this. I love PvP like Overwatch, but not Call of Duty. Okay, so I like this frame here. Okay, so Overwatch, but not Call of Duty. So yeah, you would like Space Marines 2. 100%. It definitely leans more like a slower Overwatch, but a little bit more punishing. Respawns are. If you're not with your team, Overwatch doesn't really give you the option that much in maps to just like you can be a Widow or a Genji, but for the most part, if you're a Genji, you still want to play with your team. So I don't know. It feels more like Overwatch. Call of Duty, yeah, it's very fast. So Call of Duty's definitely not like Space Marines 2 PvP at all. But you know what? Aiming helps. However, aiming down the sight will definitely, it can be confusing. I haven't played a 40k game before, neither have I, but would love to give it a shot. I have not played 40k before I got into Space Marines 2, and yeah, I'm already looking at like miniatures and stuff, so I think it's a very, very good game to start off with. Dude, I said my piece, and I think I gave a pretty good analysis why I believe PvP is in a good spot and is something new players should definitely try out. And I do have a video about learning how to PvP, or at least things that can help you out if you're new to it. So maybe I'll link it somewhere if I remember. But for the most part, let's see how people respond to this. Along with what people have said above, I'd say it's a mix between Gears of War and unranked Halo. Yeah, I'd say those two games. Yeah, that's definitely feels right. Coming from always sweating ranked PvP in any game I play, I'd say, at least for reference, like ranked, I don't know, I played ranked Armored Core, but I want to say Armored Core is similar to Space Marines at all. I played ranked Overwatch. I peaked Masters, but that was like a long time ago. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's not fighting games, I guess. The fact I can kick back with no SBMM, skill-based matchmaking, and just have a blast without getting tilted has been a breath of fresh air. So, interesting skill-based matchmaking for Space Marines 2. I believe we should just get a completely different mode, like a more, like if we needed a ranked mode in Space Marines 2, I don't think it kills PvP. It would be kind of interesting to see, but it would not be very serious. I think so. Again, I think a leaderboard would be more appropriate. Just, reward people for a little bit of their PvP time. I don't find skill-based matchmaking to be completely necessary in the game. Without getting tilted has been a breath of fresh air. If you want this game to be a ladder climb, it is not. Okay, yeah, it's not. I guess, but I don't know. I like making a cool Marine. I'll tell you that much. And I find the guns very enjoyable to use as far as like combat. It's very satisfying. It definitely reminds me of like the impact of the weapons in Elden Ring, games like that. So, but yeah, this is pretty much the gist. It doesn't seem like too many people are, like, I don't know. I see PvP complaints here and there, but it feels like for the most part people understand how to approach it better than new players. But okay, let's see what else people are saying. Space Marines 2 PvP is rather basic. Game is focused heavy on co-op, with PvP being kind of a side activity. It is okay for now. You never know. It is okay, but not comparable to PvP-focused games you mentioned, being Overwatch and Call of Duty. Okay, so, yeah, Overwatch is free. It's kind of hard to argue that. But I would say, let's say you're looking for a PvP game, but you need it to just be kind of slowed down a little bit, at least compared to Call of Duty. Obviously, I would recommend Space Marines 2. So, I don't know. There is definitely a conversation to be had where Space Marines 2 PvP actually fits in the PvP market today. And I think it fits in a unique spot. That's definitely something people could be interested in. I do see, people do play PvP. Like, it's very active. But not too many people are, like, singing its praises. And I don't know. I just wanted to make a video really breaking down the PvP conversation at the moment. Because I do believe we can get a great PvP patch that could bring players, at least more players, to the game. But it's like it's not inactive in any case. Or at least let me know in the comments how it is for you. Matches are quick and very messy. Most of them take less than 10 minutes. Okay, very messy is a good way to explain it. Even if you're steamrolling, even if you're getting steamrolled, or the game is close, there are a lot of mistakes happening because a lot of this stuff is very, very random. But if you really pay attention to the way the battle's going, you can definitely put your character in a good spot to get a lot of eliminations. However, either way, there will be somebody who will notice your playstyle, and you will either be accidentally countered or countered on purpose. So, very messy is definitely a good way to explain it. It is very messy. Even the good games are very messy. They are based on random groups. They lack forethought plan tactics. Yeah, for the most part, but there is world chat. I try my best to not be like, oh, attack B on the world chat. I do believe every gamer could definitely use the world chat in a way to speak about tactics. But you know what? A lot of people just ignore you too. Like, you could literally ask people to be like group up, and you're just gonna have that one guy who's just not really too interested in that. So, like, there are tactics, but are we really approaching the tactics in the best way possible? Probably not. And squad composition. Yeah, it's team comps. That's okay. So I think every team comp works, obviously. Like, for the most part, there's not really a team. Well, actually, you know what? Let me walk that back a little bit. If you have two snipers, like traditional snipers, on the objective points, you're likely going to, unless you have two heavies, you're going to have a hard time keeping points, because the snipers are going to reach the point late, and they might not even touch the point at all. And if you have two of them, yeah, so I think team comp is existing for sure. But like, again, you can work your way around bad team comps, I believe. So it's there, but it's not like super important. If PvP is the thing that you are interested in the most, then I would advise looking for another game instead. Okay, I'm going to disagree here. If you are interested in PvP, but you need something like a battle pass or something, sure. But if you're just looking for a PvP experience that is fun, and let's say you want side activity co-op or a campaign just for extra, like let's say, like Overwatch 2 was supposed to have a side campaign. I get PvP is their main thing, but I wouldn't say the Overwatch or Call of Duty experience is leagues above Space Marines 2 PvP. It just really depends what you're like. It really depends how your dopamine kind of reacts to what you're looking for. Like, if you want battle passes and like pretty much endless cosmetics, you're probably not going to find that here. But if you are looking for just a kind of a consistent combat experience, I think Space Marines 2 can deliver that as far as, every game you're going to be able to get better and apply your knowledge to the game. Like sometimes, like Call of Duty will definitely feel a bit random, especially now where you kind of just spawn next to a guy and it's pretty crazy. It is fun, but it's very fast. I wouldn't say that feels any more satisfying than Space Marines 2 PvP. I wouldn't say that at all. Or even Overwatch. Overwatch, it kind of differs because of the ranked mode and the fact that Overwatch has been cooking for quite a bit. So, I don't know. I wouldn't say Space Marines 2 PvP is a better experience than those two games, but I think it's comparable, and I do think it could be better to you depending on what you're looking for. So if you're looking for something a little bit slower, but a little bit more like position and, you got to line up your Qs, your ults or whatever, your specialties next to your other teammates, like definitely Space Marines 2 will deliver a satisfying experience. But again, slow. Like it's definitely a little bit slow. It's excellent if you're a fan of the 40k universe. As you get to play each class, they all have their strengths and weaknesses, and if you played PvP games from the early 2000s, such as Gears of War and the early Halo games, if you're coming into it from a modern perspective, you'll be disappointed. This is this is the in defense of PvP video, so I will be defending the fact that I'm going to disagree here. Again, for the most part, modern perspective means, like, at least the way I'm assuming, means like an endless progression loop. Something like a battle pass, prestige modes. I agree Space Marines 2 is a little undercooked in that environment, but let's not pretend that sort of addition to the game is super outside of any other game company's leagues. Like, for the most part, they just need time. And they just need interest as well. So I do believe it's something that could be something added into the game. At one point, I mean, we're already getting a new PvP mode, so, people will respond positively if they put out good stuff. So for the most part, modern perspective just feels, I don't know, it doesn't feel necessary. It feels like people just want to play a good game. That has been proven time and time again. Like, for example, modern perspective doesn't really apply to Elden Ring. Elden Ring is very big, and there's a lot of, the graphics are incredible, the boss fights and stuff, but the stuff that you will find in a modern PvP game doesn't exist in Elden Ring. Elden Ring has PvP. People love playing that when, you're into it, and okay, let's not get sidetracked here. I still find Elden Ring PvP very, very fun, so... but I can see where it's frustrating. Less frustrating than Space Marines 2. Space Marines 2, it's very noticeable when you make a mistake. Sometimes in Elden Ring, it forces mistakes, so it's kind of different. But yeah, again, I don't want to repeat my Call of Duty comparison or anything like that, but I do play modern PvP games, and I do think Space Marines 2 holds up. It at least has its spot, in the PvP game environment now, I guess. I don't know. Gears of War. Look, I like Gears of War. Gears of War is fun. And Halo. But I don't know. Something about the 40k universe definitely feels a little bit more, I don't know, just a little, coming from Elden Ring, it feels, I guess, a little bit more detailed. There's definitely a lot more that I'm interested in when it comes to 40k. And I kind of like the scale of everything, like the universal scale. Halo, like, Master Chief is cool and stuff, but, like, I don't know. I think 40k is the natural progression of franchise interest from literally those two franchises. I like Gears of War, but I don't know. There's really not enough, I guess, just not enough lore in Gears of War for the most part that feels unique. I like Marcus. I like the characters in it, but eventually, the wall banging, stuff like that kind of gets old. So I do like the simple approach to Space Marines 2 PvP. Halo is kind of similar, has a simple approach, but Halo, I don't know. First-person shooter, Grenade spam, yeah, it's pretty comparable. I feel like Halo's probably the best compared to Space Marines 2. So if you like Halo, definitely pick up Space Marines 2. But yeah, I don't know. Something about Halo just feels a bit samey for me. But again, I am a new player to 40K, so maybe that's why I'm more interested. But either way, I felt like that, the modern perspective doesn't feel very relevant in this case. Yeah, PvP is alright, no major issues right now. Just needs a couple more maps. Only having 3 isn't the most amazing thing. So this is like the one criticism where I'm like, yeah, I can't really defend that. There's, not that I was expecting more maps. And honestly, the way I would defend it is saying, well, at least they're easy to learn. So new players aren't that intimidated by learning the game. However, do they notice that the maps aren't easy to, or aren't hard to learn? We'll see, but at least for the most part, I do see new players quite a bit, and I see high levels quite a bit. So, I do think I do think the maps are something that people learn very fast. And not only that, I think we are getting more maps, so that's fine. 3 can definitely feel a bit samey. That's fine, but at least you can mix it up, by playing different classes. Then the knowledge you gain from playing one class and how you play it on a map can kind of transfer to another. So you don't really have to, again, you don't have to worry about the maps becoming a problem. They're just a little bit, they're a little bit boring for, at least in this case, that's kind of what he's saying. But yeah, we will be getting new maps. We will be getting new modes. Sometimes you just need to switch it up yourself. But yeah, I don't know. The maps don't really turn me off. Only having 3 maps, I really am not that critical of that aspect. In fact, I like 2 of the maps a lot. But there's that one map with the fog middle. That fog area is so, oh my god. It is very fun, but it's like the one place where it's like you're sweating the entire time when there's a team fight going on there. It is fun. It is fun. So, I don't know. Maybe you need to find certain things to appreciate each map for and, just kind of revolve your class around that, depending on how you want to play it. Like assaults are very easy to just cut corners, and vanguards can cut corners. Bulwarks can know their positions a little bit better. And you can trial and error a lot of things. So only having 3 maps does have its benefits, but yes, I understand the drawback to that is can definitely turn off a couple players. Okay, so I do think those are the major criticisms of PvP for the most part. I think I addressed everything. If I missed something, let me know in the comments. Let me know how you feel. This was definitely a longer video, just because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that was just coming to the top of the dome there. Yeah, I don't write these things just for reference, I guess. But, yeah. Thanks for watching.